Hi, Tom again with TNB Tech. Today's video is about Sony cameras and Sony APS-C cameras in particular. Previous videos I've kind of trashed Fuji a little bit. Now it's Sony's turn. Today I want to talk about the one thing, the biggest thing that is the problem with Sony APS-C cameras. Now, it's the main problem. There's a lot of other problems, and I'll talk about those in a later video. But I'm talking about the main problem, the one thing that's wrong with all Sony APS-C cameras. Almost all, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But for all intents and purposes, all Sony APS-C cameras have this problem. And the frustrating thing is they didn't used to have this problem. It was fixed, and then they broke it again. And that's kind of annoying. This problem affects everybody who uses the camera unless you shoot full auto, I guess, or maybe program mode. So if you're doing aperture priority, shutter priority, certainly full manual, this problem affects you. And this is the thing that's frustrating about this is not in dispute. Unlike my previous video, where I think there's a problem with Fuji exposure preview in shutter priority mode. This problem is not in dispute. People have talked about it over and over again. I'll probably try to put some B-roll in here to show it. Everybody says this problem exists, and yet Sony isn't fixing it, or at least they have not yet attempted to fix it. And it's easy to do. Everyone knows how to do it, and yet they won't do it. So that's the frustrating part. So what is this problem with every Sony APS-C camera? Well, quite simply, it is Sony APS-C cameras only have one programmable control dial. Okay? Only one. Now, way back in the past, they had the NEX7, had two control dials right on top. It was wonderful. Because if you're in aperture priority mode, you want to control the aperture and maybe exposure comp. If you're in shutter priority mode, you want to control shutter speed, maybe exposure comp. If you're in manual, you typically want to control shutter speed and aperture. Now, however you control ISO, if you're using auto ISO or not, however you control that, you still want those two controls. In all three of those modes, you want to have quick and easy access to those two controls. Now, someone's going to write in, well, you can access that other secondary control with the wonderful little control wheel on the back of the camera, which everybody who uses this camera, everybody who uses cameras at all will say that sucks. It sucks. Just because Canon and Nikon had it for years with their DSLRs doesn't mean that that's the right thing to do, right? And I know that things have evolved from that, and that's where it came from, but it sucks. The primary use of this camera is up against your face with your eye in the EVF, in my opinion. That's why it's there. That's why you buy a camera with EVF, so you can use it. And in order to get at that stupid wheel in the back, you've got to move your thumb around into an unnatural position. And so you can't get to it too easily. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is, on Sony cameras, that wheel overloads a D-pad, 4 buttons and one in the middle. So 5 separate buttons along with the wheel. So as you're trying to move your wheel to adjust either exposure comp or aperture or shutter speed or ISO or what have you, you are have a potential to accidentally hit that one of those buttons and do something else. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting there trying to adjust something and I go along and I don't realize I'm hitting my ISO or I'm hitting my drive controller or something. It's a problem. The primary problem is the ergonomics on those cameras suck. And you can't say, well, they don't have enough room because Fuji has proven it with the X-T30. Other cameras have done it. Micro Four Thirds have done it. Even they did it on the NEX7. 2 programmable control dials. You can have that wheel on the back. You know, there's plenty of ways to fix this. Put another dial on top. Move the mode dial to the other side. You can do that. Another way would be to just take the buttons off that stupid D-pad and make them touch swipes like Fuji did, or put more buttons on the back, or at least make the button so you can disable it, right? So people like me wouldn't complain. The problem is that back wheel sucks, and it shouldn't be used for a primary control. A primary control meaning shutter speed or aperture or exposure count, right? It shouldn't be used for one of those, and shouldn't be required to be used for one of those. And that's the problem with all Sony APS-C cameras. And I sure hope that they fix it in the A7000 if that camera ever really does come to market, because they did it with all of their full frame cameras. Surprise, surprise. The A7 III, all the different A7 cameras, the A9, they all have a front wheel and a back wheel, and it's wonderful. You can program to do whatever you want. So Sony knows how to do it. Everybody knows it's a problem. Why haven't they done it with their APS-C cameras? Could it be they just wanted people to buy full frame cameras? Could be. It's really frustrating because they could make a killer camera by sticking at least one control wheel in the front of their APS-C cameras. Ideally two, one in the front, one in the back, just like full frames. But if they only want to do one and keep the one on top, I'd be happy with that. So Sony, if you're listening, please, please, please solve this problem. And you'll be happier for it, I guarantee you. That's it for now. That's the video. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you very much.